Hey y'all, so it is day 2 of me coming on camera and trying to finish this hair. I think it's coming along pretty well. What do y'all think? I need to finish up this side and the front though. But yeah, so today's vlog, y'all, is just a talk with Zhanae Janae. Child, I need to make a talk through about just pronunciation, because a lot of people say Zhanae Janae. Even in old videos I've said Zhanae Janae, but I really want to put emphasis on the fact that I want my name to be pronounced as Zhanae Janae. Zhanae Janae, right? But basically today's talk through, I'm going to title it, I'm looking at my little paper of videos that I want to do, video topics. I'm trying to be more structured with my content. Basically today's talk through is going to be making your own lane. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about different stuff when it pertains to like making your own lane, because I know in the past and stuff like that, I've had people tell me, oh, you running around like a chicken with your head cut off, you doing this and da. You need to niche down, you need to figure out what you want to do, you can only do one thing at a time, you need to be like more structured, you trying to do too much, blah 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 blah. And at the end of the day, I, in response to that, I'm just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, because I feel like I'm very much a multifaceted person. So at the end of the day, I've been told by multiple people, I seem to basically thrive in chaos. Like, I thrive when there's a little bit of an adrenaline rush. I thrive when there's basically like a lot going on. That's when I feel like I really kind of show my ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I make the most of a situation when there's a lot going on. If it's just too calm and collected, I don't really vibe out with it. I'm just kind of like, oh, this is boring. And I definitely know that comes from a place of always being in like fight or flight type energy. Let me pull this out because I already feel this is crazy. I definitely know that comes from a place of being in always like constant state of fight or flight energy. But I do realize that like I do work really well in chaos, because I just had no choice but to adapt to that, right? So I'm trying to grab this piece of hair while I'm talking to y'all, and I can't seem to grab it, but there we go. So basically, what we're gonna say from this perspective, right? I have always been like a multitasker. So I have always said that I have no choice but to try to make like a lot of things happen at one time, especially when I started dancing and shit like that, because anybody that knows me knows I don't really absolutely love being a dancer, right? So my biggest thing when I started dancing was, okay, I'm gonna use this money and I'm going to invest it. Like, I'm not going to stay in the club for forever and a day. I don't plan on being here too long. I'm going to put this money into multiple different areas so that I can get a return on investment, and I'm going to thus shorten my time span that I'm going to be working in the club, right? And at the end of the day, a lot of us in the club, I will say, with me personally, sometimes people look down on you when you've been in the club for a while. Now, what I could say, I'm getting better at seeing things from all perspectives, right? Now, you can make a whole lot of money in a club, but for me personally, the club should be a stepping stone. It shouldn't be like oh, I'm signing on to be a dancer at 18 and now I'm still a dancer and I'm retiring at 50. Like, me personally, I don't feel like that's what I want to do. Now, I also am an avid fan of saying, do what works best for you. Don't let nobody trick you out your spot, blah, 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 blah. But for me personally, the club is such a negative environment. It's so dangerous. It can be like so much shit can come with the club that I personally don't want to be there for forever and a day, you know? Like, I don't like dancing. I really don't. So at the end of the day, the money comes with it, and yeah, all people hear is like, oh, you're complaining, you make all that money, and why would you not want to stay in the club for so long? Because I value my mental health over anything. I value my mental health over falling in love. I value my mental health over having family around me. I value my mental health over money. If the sacrifice is my mental health, the cost is too high. That's what I always say. If the sacrifice is my mental health, the cost is too high. My battery like shortened or whatever. I'm actually doing really damn good on these braids. So basically, I just feel like working in a club cost me my mental health a lot. So what I started to do when I would work in a club and I started to get bills paid off and all that other shit, and when I started to have extra money, I started to rigorously invest. Now, when I say rigorous investments, I'm saying try to start a business, try to kick off some affiliate marketing, try to throw your money into some stocks, try to just figure out different ways to put your money and make your money work for you, right? Opposed to you having to actively go work for your money all the time, right? So when I did all these rigorous investments, mind you, I'm also a very multifaceted person, and I have to thank my mom and my father for that. My mom was a amazingly talented beautician, and my dad is somebody who, in the midst of like his situation, has always picked himself up and tried something different, going for something different. So I know I talk about my dad a lot, y'all, about like what he's done and different stuff like that, but my dad is also a big inspiration to me. I just personally don't rock with him as a person, but when it comes down to inspiration wise, like, he inspired me from the second I've been younger, or from my whole life, just in the sense of whenever adversity comes, he bounces back and goes and does something different, right? So that's where I get that from. So basically, and then in Jamaica they have a saying called every mickle make a muckle. So basically it's like okay, you can collect your coins from like multiple different sources, right? You don't have to just have all your eggs in one basket. So when I started dancing, knowing that I didn't like dancing, knowing that I didn't want to be there forever, I started rigorously investing, whether it be into stocks, whether it be into trying to start my business, stuff like that, right? And now we're at ground zero. Like, we got to start from step one again. But I feel like when you hit rock bottom and you got to start from step one, the blessing in that is that you're starting from experience. You're not starting all the way at the back. You're starting from like step 5 opposed to step 1. So now I can start from experience. Now I know what to do. Now I know what to think. Now I know how to engage certain people and ignore certain people. It's a blessing within that. So that's just me trying to be positive about having to go back and do something I really don't want to do, just to try to get myself out of my current situation. But basically, going back to my mom being an amazing beautician, I grew up watching my mom do hair, being on set of music videos and different stuff for multiple different artists, and being inspired about music, being inspired about the process that it takes before you press action, or before you say action, before you press that camera button, right? I got super inspired by the process of that comes before that, whether it be the makeup, the nails, the hair, the outfits, the fashion. Like, it's just always been a really big cool thing to me. And I grew up really watching RuPaul's Drag Race a lot. I grew up watching America's Next Top Model. I grew up watching Project Runway. So I've always loved the process behind what gets people ready. I love the people that get people ready, and I love the models too, but really, girl, you just throw on clothes. Like, you're not really, like, so when it comes down to models, I appreciate the models that work on their craft, like a Naomi Campbell, like a Coco Rocha, like a what is it called? Who is she? Damn, I forget her name. But like the models that really work on their craft. I appreciate those ones. Everybody else just be sometimes just throwing on clothes, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm a person that I respect people who work on their craft, no matter the industry that they're in. So at the end of the day, when I started investing into all these different facets, I can do hair, obviously. I can do makeup. I love makeup, always loved makeup. I started to learn to do nails. I'm not super amazing with nails, but I told myself I would like to try to take a class on nails so I could fully really learn for real, because I know how to put it together and make it look super good. But y'all, when I do nails, they cannot stay on for the life of me. They chunky and bulky. Like, I need more lessons. And my biggest thing came from YouTube University. Like, I will look up My people think I'm just so amazing and so spectacular, and I am, but also I'm a researcher. I'm a avid researcher. I pick up books, I read, I look up videos, I read all the time, online stuff. Like, I'm always just teaching myself. Every day I wake up and I'm just learning new shit. Like, and sometimes I give myself time to be entertained, to watch different stuff like that. But I love to learn. I feel like there's so much different stuff out in the universe that we don't know. And I just have this built-in curiosity for, okay, what is it that I can learn today? So I always just kind of let myself learn different things, and I was just always kind of doing a whole lot of different stuff. And for me, I am in the process of truly building myself up to be a brand. Like, truth be told, I don't think anybody really want to work. I don't really want to work. Like, even though I am a workhorse, even though I am like go crazy, super woman work ethic, I don't want to be working my whole life. And a big reason of why I have that mindset is because I've literally watched my grandmother work for so long. I watched my father work for so long. I watched my mom work for so long. And I'm watching in their older age, like, not really having much to show for it. This is not a dig at my peoples, y'all. Like, I'm just speaking straight up. And when you've been working for years on end and all you have to show for it is back pain and finger crampings, and you don't really have a savings, or you still not really where you want to be in life, like, I don't really want that for myself. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I would like to retire from physical work as early as possible. So I'm a person that's very big on rigorous investment, on taking those chances, on picking up and trying new things, on the power of the pivot, I call it. I got that from somebody else, so I didn't create that thing, but yeah, the power of the pivot. I don't remember who it came from. Basically, I think I saw it on TikTok. Y'all, don't let anyone scare you out of trying new things. Gary Vee is a very big promoter of try all types of different shit while you're young. Hell, try it when you're old too. Just keep trying. Don't let nobody convince you that you can't do this and can't do that, and that you shouldn't try, and it's gonna be embarrassing, it's gonna be cringy. Man, fuck them. Like, come on now. So one thing that I'm always do, I'm gonna try. Like, if it's one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try. If I fail, okay, that's my business. If I fail, that's my fucking business. But like, one thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try. And I think for me having so many supposed failures in life, because just like setbacks, I wouldn't necessarily call them L's or failures. It's just like, I'm learning. So I feel like you can't lose if you're always learning. Like, I'm always learning. I'm always figuring something new out. So I'm always trying something new, because literally nobody is born knowing math. Like, you got to work on math. So how am I going to treat this world? How am I going to treat life? I'm always going to keep working towards what I want to do. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, sometimes that's why you got to take your ego out of so much different shit. You got to say, bro, fuck it. I'm not all knowing. I'm not the master of this. I'm not the master of that. The only thing that I am the master of is my own fate. And even then, you got to give it over to God sometimes, damn near all the time, because you have to realize there is a level of surrender. I was watching the podcast On Purpose with Jay Shetty, his interview with Lauren London earlier. She's like, there's such a gift and a beauty in surrender. Sometimes you got no choice but to surrender to knowing that your higher power is who's really in charge. Like, I'm not in charge. No matter how much I am a control freak and I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to say, I'm going to take charge of my life. Like, if God wants something for me or God don't want something for me, that's what the hell it's gonna be. And I just gotta just take it to the chin. I gotta take it to the chin, because life, like Lauren London said, life gonna chin check you, baby. And I done got chin checked more than a few times, right? So at the end of the day, my biggest thing is, going back to the title of this video, making your own lane. So for me, I've always grown up watching the Project Runways, watching the America's Next Top Model, and loving it and absolutely wanting to be enthralled in it, wanting to experience it, and watching my mother run a business, watching my father do this and do that and run a business, watching my grandmother work for so long, and her being such a workhorse, having such a ridiculous work ethic, like a machine. and wanting to kind of do the same, wanting to aspire to being this hard worker, being somebody that is making something out of nothing, you know? And that's why I say I could take my inspirations from my 3 influences, my grandmother, my father, and my mother. But what I can say is, when I would watch these different modeling shows and different stuff like that, I would see that they were complaining about, oh, it's hard for black women to break into the industry. It's hard for this size, this shape to break into the industry. It's hard to do this, it's hard to do that. Even just as a woman altogether, I can't stand this nigga that be driving around with his fucking motorcycle. I cannot stand this man. Cause now you fucking on my video. And revving for what? When I tell y'all, he just do too fucking much. Like, he do too fucking much. That loud ass Blues Clues ass music. Please get the fuck on. So yeah, what point was I at? Yeah, basically I grew up seeing a whole lot of different people saying what they couldn't do, what wasn't allowed. I grew up with my mom being an immigrant and stuff like that, and seeing how many stumbling blocks, like how many barriers were in her way from her being an immigrant, her not being a legal citizen and stuff like that. And that's a big part of why I used to want to be a lawyer, because I've always loved education, I've always loved reading, I've always loved researching, but I felt like I want to make a change. I want to help my mom. I want to help others that are going through the same thing that my mom's going through. And then also, when it goes back to me loving the beauty industry, loving the modeling industry, and, you know, entertainment industry, I was like, I don't like the idea that somebody else can tell me what I can and can't do. I don't know, y'all, if it's just like really my big 3, because my big 3, I'm an Aries, and then I'm a Sagittarius rising, and I'm a Scorpio moon. So I don't know if it's my big 3. I don't know what the fuck it is, but I don't like the idea of people telling me what I can and can't do. I ain't gonna hold y'all. Like, that's just, it don't work for me. Like, if I feel like I'm gonna set my mind to doing something, I'm gonna do it. Like, you're not gonna tell me I can't do nothing. I'm sorry. So at the end of the day, very stubborn, very hard-headed, but also it's a great trait to have, because I'm not gonna let nobody tell me what I can't accomplish in this life. I'm gonna do everything that I want to do. And if I can't walk through the door with you, I'm gonna kick down your door, and I'm going to build my own fucking house. If I can't sit at the table with you, I'm going to build my own table, right? And that's just my biggest thing. So when I say, I keep trying to remember the title, I'm looking at the paper. When I say making your own lane, I think what a lot of people outwardly see with me is, oh, she's just running around like a chicken with her head cut off. She's just trying to pay the bills. She just got a lot going on, and da-da-da-da. No, I believe in, you can work on one thing and really make that one thing yours and figure it out. But then you can also, the way my mind works, truthfully, y'all, I think I have ADHD. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, the way my mind just jumbles up and works, I think I really do have ADHD. And if you would know me in real life, you would probably think I do too. Haven't been diagnosed, probably got to go look into being diagnosed, but I know myself, and whenever I see all the ADHD symptoms, like, check, like, so yeah. But the way my brain jumbles up and works, my brain works in chaos. Like, y'all know that SpongeBob episode where it's like a hell of SpongeBob's running around in his brain? That's like how my brain works. So to the outside world, it doesn't make sense. It looks like got a lot going on. It looks like I don't know what I'm doing. It looks like I'm just trying to throw darts and let something stick to the wall. But to me, there's levels of cohesion in everything that I do. Everything ties together with each other. And my biggest thing that I'll say is, I don't feel like when you have a vision, I don't feel like anybody else has to understand. And that might sound crazy. I used to fight and want so badly for people to believe in me, want friends to believe in me, want family to believe in me, want just somebody to just, you know, give me that reassurance. And I realized I'm seeking for something that I could just give to myself. Like, nobody has to understand me. It's nobody's job to understand me. I could give a fuck if somebody understands me or not. Because when I had to realize that people are committed to misunderstanding me, I was like, yeah, this shit don't fucking matter no more. It don't fucking matter no more. So at the end of the day, it's nobody's job to understand me. And it might look chaotic to y'all, but it's cohesive to me. Like, and that's all that truly matters. So when I talk about making your own lane, I mean, listen, stop begging for other people to accept you when you need to accept you. Like, what you're begging for in other people, what you want from other people, you can just give it to yourself. So when I would hear all the time, can't do this, can't do that, people trying to da-da-da-da, and I understand about being a trailblazer, trying to force your way into somebody else's room, trying to make them give you a seat at the table. I'm not really into all of that. I'm not going to make nobody give me a seat at the table. Mama used to tell me, if you don't get invited, don't go. Don't show up nowhere that you're not invited. Because if you're not welcomed, you need to get the fuck from up out of there and figure out where you're welcome, and go where you're welcome. Go where you're celebrated. Go where you're appreciated. Go where you're respected. So basically she would be like, don't be anybody's second choice. Ever. Like, I'm not going to force you to accept me. I'm going to accept myself, and I'm going to make a lane for myself. So truth be told, fuck you. Fuck what you got going on. I'm not going to beg you to appreciate, respect, or accept me. Not doing it. Sorry. So you know what? Everybody else can trailblaze in the sense of forcing someone to give them a seat at their table. I'm gonna go and chop down a tree and get all the wood, saw it down, and make my own fucking table. And that's just who I am as a person. So everything doesn't work for everybody the same way, but personally, that's mentally like what works for me, because I just refuse to let somebody feel like they're my judge, jury, and executioner. I refuse to let somebody feel like they are the author of my fate. I refuse to let somebody feel like they're gonna get the kicks. Like, there's something they say, you will never brag. Bitch, you will never brag and feel like, oh yeah, she begging me for this, she begging for that, she begging. Anyhow I get with somebody, like relationship wise, we saying that. Anyhow I get with somebody and they make me feel like I'm begging them for shit, oh baby, watch how quick I'm gonna go get it for myself. I'm not even gonna say watch how quick I could go get somebody else to do it, because I could do that. But watch how quick I could get it for myself. I'm gonna make your head spin. So I'm not the person to make feel like, try to be getting shits and kicks and giggles off of, like getting ego boost off of, oh yeah, you gotta beg for it. I gotta do what? I gotta do what? Okay, bet that up. I'm the wrong person to try to do that with. So I make my own lane. And when the funny thing about making your own lane is that when you create a lane for yourself, nobody can knock you off your pivot. What God destined, what God wrote in the book of life, y'all can't take it away from me. Nobody can take it away from me. So what God wants for me, God wants for me. And no matter how short, long my life is going to be, no matter how this and that, no matter how people say this or say that, what God has for me, nobody can take it away from me. So at the end of the day, when you make your own lane, you don't got to sit up and pretend and do this and do that. I am literally building my brand off of just being myself, off of being genuine. Like, so when it comes down to, I don't have to get caught doing nothing. I don't have to pretend to be this and pretend to be that or hide anything. No, I just live out loud, because I'll be damned if a motherfucker feel like they're going to be my judge, jury, and executioner, and they're going to take away from me what God destined for me. Baby, y'all ain't got no power. Y'all ain't got no power. Y'all ain't got no power. I'm gonna let you know that now. So when you looking for a lane to run in, make it and run your own race, run your own lane, and turn that shit up. And know in your heart that you are so turned up, you are so raw at what you do, that you are undeniable. People have no choice but to choose you as the first draft pick. Because fuck around and find out you want to choose somebody else. Okay, guess what? We're gonna go on to the bigger and the better, the blessing. And sometimes the bigger and the better isn't always necessarily monetary. Sometimes the bigger and the better is having that peace of mind. A big thing that my ex used to say all the time is, thank God I have peace of mind. Oh my God, she loves saying, thank God I have peace of mind, because everybody don't got peace of mind. And I used to be like, why she say that all the time? But a really big thing that I've come to realize is everybody doesn't have peace of mind. Some people are really struggling with themselves, and they're struggling with themselves just because they won't just sit with themselves, by themselves, and figure out what the hell is wrong with them. Like, what the hell is going on in my head? Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like that? Why am I insecure about this? Why am I insecure about that? People too scared of themselves. So now they're trying to outwardly impose certain mindsets and feelings onto you. And I'm just like, girl, you look a fucking mess. So I want to be undeniable. I want to run my own race. I want to live in my own lane. What's meant for me is meant for me. What's meant for others is meant for others. And I'm human. Sometimes I get jealous. Sometimes I wish I had this and wish I had that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, damn. But it's never, oh, I am supposed to have it over that person. It's just like a damn God. I'm trying to listen to you. I'm trying to figure out what life is about. I'm trying to want for me what you want for me. So what is going on? Like, it's just me being confused, kind of like talking to God and being like, God, what is for me? Like, I'm trying to make my own lane. But, you know, we all want things to happen overnight. We want things to happen fast. And when you gain notoriety and you gain money and you gain certain things too fast, you gain ego. When you gain it slowly, you gain wisdom. You gain understanding. So a really big thing for me is just patience, man. And trying to trust God and trying to believe that I want for me what God wants for me. I want it at the time that I'm supposed to get it. And that takes a level of surrender that I fear. And there's always anxieties in my head like, oh my God, like what if this happened? What if that happened? But what's meant to happen is meant to happen. So to try to give into my anxieties and try to call down certain shit on myself just because I'm giving into my anxieties, I'm not going to do that to myself. Like, I want for me what God wants for me. I want to make my own lane. I want to live the way I'm meant to live, and I want to live out loud. I don't want to be in nobody's shadows doing dark things in dark places with dark people. I don't want to do that. I want to live the life that God has destined for me. So when you're worried about running in a lane, make your own. Be your best person. Live out loud and stand in your truth. Love you guys.